Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app. This is Investor Schooling Live with your host, Larry Steinhouse, CEO of Investor Schooling.
All right, good afternoon and welcome to Investor Schooling Live. Investor Schooling Live is coming to you from the Investor Schooling Studios here in the Investor Schooling headquarters. I am Larry Steinhouse, and I am the CEO of Investor Schooling. I want to thank you for listening and get ready to learn real estate investing, stock options trading, and so many more things about money that I bet you didn't even know. Hey, by the way, you can call us anytime during the show with your questions at 855-939-1137. That's 855-939-1137. Hey, by the way, it is a live program, so you can call anytime, 855-939-1137, and we will take your calls. Hey, don't worry about the topic. We'll take your calls about just about anything that has to do with money. We are also live on Facebook. We are live on LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube, and you can leave comments there as well. And by the way, if you're watching online, please say hi. You already have Tom saying hi. Thank you, Tom. I appreciate you. He's saying hi on Facebook. Hey, at Investor Schooling, we teach real estate investing, stock options trading, how to save money and taxes, how to be financially free, and we even give you the motivation to make money work for you instead of you working for money. Investor Schooling is located in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, right off the Newtown Bypass, serving the New Jersey and greater Philadelphia areas in a real brick-and-mortar building. Our students are also located in several states with our exclusive web access to our classes and seminars. Hey, get ready to learn this business, the business of entrepreneurship, real estate investing, and stock options trading from people who live it every day. Welcome to Investor Schooling. I am your friendly neighborhood financial expert, and my name is Larry Steinhouse. All right, so this week was kind of a wild week. First of all, the Dow closed down 1,000 points yesterday. Boy, did I get that one wrong. If you guys are fans of me, you know, if you've been watching some of my other shows, you know that I thought that yesterday was going to be a really good day in the market, except what do you think Powell does? He goes, we're going to have more pain tomorrow. We're going to have more pain coming up. And he says that yesterday, more pain. He has to use the words more pain. He couldn't just say, we're working on it, it's working out, everything's fine. That's what I would have expected him to say, but no, the market has to drop 1,000 points. 1,000 points! Ugh.
He actually used those words.
He actually used those words, more pain. So
he sounds like Pinhead from Hellraiser.
Yeah, right. So even you, Glenn, how much do you know about the stock market?
A little bit. I did work at Bloomberg News for a long time.
You worked at Bloomberg News, and now you're working at PHT?
I know.
That's certainly a step down.
I don't know about that. I get to work with you, Larry. So.
Well, I'm a step up from everything. I totally understand that.
Yes, but I do know a little bit. I do know a little bit. I do have a little bit of a background.
Yeah, I know. I appreciate that. But for Powell, he didn't have to use the words more pain. If he would have just said, yeah, we're working on it, things are moving ahead. Look, and here's the deal. We all know what's going on. The inflation rate is ridiculous because, look, frankly, when you give a whole bunch of people free money, like Biden did, that's going to cause inflation. There's no doubt about it. It's just the way it is. I was thinking about this today. Glenn, you probably appreciate this too, or maybe you won't appreciate this, but maybe some of the listeners will appreciate this. In 1997, I became a millionaire for the first time. And, if you know my story, you also know that I've lost everything in 2008. So even though I became a millionaire in 1997, in 2008, I was completely broke. But the interesting part about that, when I say I became a millionaire in 1997, that's when $1 million, was, a decent amount of money. It's funny now, if you're a millionaire, you're like, yes, so. So the term, you're going to become a millionaire, because I actually said that to somebody this morning. They were working at Dunkin' Donuts, and they were so good at what you could tell that their work ethic was really good. And they said, you're going to be a millionaire one day. And I'm walking out the door going, she better be a millionaire one day, or she ain't going to even be able to afford her mortgage. And that's basically what's happening now. Is $1 million is just nothing now. And it's actually kind of scared and scary when you think that $1 million is nothing. And
no, you need at least $1 million.
Well, it's not that you need $1 million.
Okay.
So I appreciate what you're saying. And here's the thing. So here's the thing about needing $1 million. So it's funny because I say this all the time. I ask somebody, I'm coaching somebody on money, and I'll ask the same question. I'll say, hey, how much money do you want? And everybody will say the same thing. Guess what number?
$1 million.
$1 million, right? So then you're like, well, what are you going to do with the $1 million? I don't know. So how are you going to use $1 million to generate an income? I don't know. And the funny part is they really don't know. And that's probably why they don't have the $1 million. They don't know what to do with it. But with $1 million, so so with $1 million, if you know how to buy houses without any money, which is what we teach in investor schooling, I'm buying 3 houses. So I'm buying 3 houses this month, and I'm actually feeling a little bit of a failure. I got to bring $1,000 to one of the closings. It's the first time I had to bring money to a closing in a really long time, but I promised the guy I'd give him $1,000 cash because that was what he wants. So most of the time, when I do this, I buy houses with absolutely no money. So I can have $1 million in the bank, buy 10 houses, and I'd still have $1 million in the bank. So you don't even need $1 million to start investing. And what I'm doing is I'm living off the income from the investment properties. And I have a very nice income from these investment properties. In fact, I just bought a property about 3 weeks ago that my monthly mortgage payment on the property is going to be $900 a month, and I'm going to rent the thing out for $2,400 a month. I'd say that's a pretty good profit. Plus, not only did I not take any money out of my pocket when I bought the property, I actually left closing with $37,000. And that's the stuff that we teach. That's the stuff that we do. And by the way, if you want to call in, 855-939-1137, 855-939-1137. But I got to bring up something because if there's anybody listening, I know this debate about the student loans is incredible. Now, if you're a fan of mine, you know that I got a lot of flack the other day because guess what, Glenn? You're not going to believe this, but I am for forgiving student loans. Oh my goodness! I'm such a rhino! Oh no! But I really need to explain this because everybody doesn't understand. They don't listen to anything I say. They just hear me say that I'm for forgiving student loans, and right away they jump on me and go, Biden's trying to buy votes. Yeah, I know. He's trying to buy votes. Exactly. I get it. Oh, it's not fair. It's going to be on the backs of all the taxpayers. Yeah. I know. I get it. No, I agree with everything you're saying, and I believe it's unfair. And here's the other thing, too. The people with the Pell Grants. So let me just go back and talk about this student loan thing. So I don't know if you guys know all the details, but it's either $10,000 or $20,000 that's going to be forgiven from your total balance of your student loans. Everyone gets $10,000 automatically, and if you had a Pell Grant, now I don't know if you guys know what a Pell Grant is, but a Pell Grant is for low-income people going to college. So if their family, I believe it's $60,000, if their whole family makes less than $60,000, and they can apply, the student can apply for what's called a Pell Grant, and a Pell Grant gives you about $6,800 towards your college education. And you can get that up to 6 years. So you get that $6,800 6 times up to 6 years. So if you applied for a Pell Grant and you got the Pell Grant, you're automatically going to get $20,000. Now, both of these have an income limit of $125,000. So if you're making more than $125,000, so if you make $125,200, you don't get the $10,000 or the $20,000, which is ridiculous too, but that's a different issue. But let's talk about how unfair it is for the people with the Pell Grant to get $20,000 versus the other people to get $10,000. Yes, I get it. They were, and they may not be anymore, low-income families. They were low-income families. When they applied for the Pell Grant, they were a low-income family. But remember, that could have been 6 years ago, 7 years ago, 10 years ago, and this guy can be making $124,900 right now, just like the other person making $124,900 who didn't get a Pell Grant, who's getting $10,000 taken off, and this guy, because he got a Pell Grant, is getting $20,000 taken off. That is completely unfair. If you want to say, okay, if you still qualify for a Pell Grant, you're getting $20,000, at least that's some fairness. But I can't believe that they did this. Now, here's the kicker of the whole thing. Glenn, you want to know how Biden was able to do this?
Tell me, Larry.
This is the part that drives me absolutely nuts. He was able to do this because he used the emergency powers that were granted to him because of the COVID scamdemic.
Well, I knew it wasn't through his smooth talking.
Or through Congress like it's supposed to be. I mean, it's supposed to go through Congress, and Congress was supposed to say yes or no. He just said, I have a pen, like Obama, I have a pen and I'm going to use it, right? He just said, I'm doing it. And that is insane. Insane. I cannot believe that he was able to do this. By the way, if you want to talk about this subject, I am very knowledgeable about this subject. I've done a lot of research on it. I've done a lot of reports on it. 855-939-1137. 855-939-1137. I'm Larry Steinhouse. Do you want to call? Actually, if you've been for student loan, if you've had your student loan forgiven, if you're for student loan forgiveness, if you're against student loan forgiveness, call me because I actually, this is a great topic right now. It's an amazing topic. As a matter of fact, on Facebook, if you follow me on Facebook, I got hundreds of comments because of comments I've left or because of posts I've left about this student loan debacle. All right, now, you heard me say before when I started that I'm all for the student loan forgiveness. So here I am, a Republican, probably the only Republican in the entire planet that's for student loan forgiveness. But I sat here and just told you how unfair the student loan forgiveness system is. Let me tell you why I'm for student loan forgiveness. And it has nothing to do with the politics or the realities of what people are talking about right now. My problem with student loans, and I've been saying it for 20 years. As a matter of fact, my son called me up the other day, and he goes, Dad, you are consistent. You didn't change your colors at all on this when it came out. Because I've been saying for 20, maybe 25 years that the student loan system is the most predatory system there has ever been. It is the most ridiculous thing ever. You're told, hey, Glenn, did you go to college?
I did.
Great. And what happened? Your parents said, Glenn, you got to go to college because if you don't go to college, you're never going to get a good job in radio. And then, of course, right? And then, of course, all the teachers said, Glenn, you have to go to college or you're never going to get a good job in radio, right? And then everyone else said the same thing. And the continual, the continual lies, first of all, about college. We can have a whole conversation about whether you should go to college or not. And most of the people who go to college right now probably shouldn't be in college. But that's a different issue. But let's talk about the fact that you're told your life is going to be terrible if you don't go to college. Glenn, you must go to college. But, Mom, we don't have the money. That's okay. The government's going to give you a free student loan, and you qualify for it because you breathe. That's the problem. That is the major problem.
Actually, Larry, when I was growing up, it was almost so indoctrinated, at least into me, maybe around people my age too. It was just a given that you needed to go to college.
Yeah.
I didn't even need an overwrought parent saying to me, "You're going to college. You're going to college," because it was just a given. We're going to college. We're gonna try to go to college. We're gonna find a way to go to college. It was that indoctrinated into me.
Absolutely. Well, I can't tell you how lucky I was. You know why? Because my parents were in the middle of divorce when it was time for me to go to college, and neither one of them cared what happened to me. So I didn't go to college.
I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to hear that, Larry.
No, and as you know, because my mother's been my mother wasn't on the show. She was actually commenting on Facebook one day. And my mother loves me, and everything's cool. And my father was, whatever. He was, not a great person, but that's life. But so I decided I was going to, I actually went to a community college for 6 weeks. And of course, I'm going through this thing with my parents getting divorced. I'm going through, the fact that I really want to be here. And I literally walk into a classroom that looked just like my high school classroom. I'm like, what am I doing here? And I actually went out, got a job, and quit. And I didn't realize how smart that decision was until many years later when I realized that, what would I have learned anyway? I wanted to go I really like electronics. As a matter of fact, if you ever come to Investor Schooling, I'll show you the studio I built. I didn't need college to build this studio. My studio rivals PhD studio. Glenn, you need to come here and see the studio one day.
I do. I want to see it.
Because it's really, really cool. So if you're watching online, you're seeing the studio. Matter of fact, Mike, why don't you show a view of the studio? Mike, you gotta make me look better too. What is this here? You got my head cut off here. Hold on, I'm gonna fix it myself if I can figure out which camera it is. But you got my head cut off, man, on video. So there you go. So yeah, here you go. I think I got the right one. I can't tell because the picture that I see is delayed. So anyway, now I got my stomach. Come on, Mike, you got to fix that for me.
He knows you don't like to show the top of your head.
It's sort of top of my head. Now he's showing my fat stomach. I mean, come on. I can't see it.
I actually can't control the camera right now.
Oh, you can't? Oh, that's funny. Oh, okay. Let's see. Maybe I'll get lucky and be able to do it. The camera doesn't see that. I tell you how great I am at electronics, and there you go. Now he can't even control the camera because I did something wrong.
Just a little bit more.
Up a little bit more. All right, hold on. I can't believe I'm having this conversation on radio. How unprofessional is that? What's his name?
This is great radio.
Gary Arnell is going to say, "What that Larry Steinhouse man? What's he talking about?"
This is great radio.
But if you want to come in, if you want to call in, I got so many people online. Now they're making comments. Now you guys are making comments because the camera. So you guys, all the people online.
Authentic. That's
all the people online are making comments about the camera. It's really, really funny. Hey, somebody call in and let's talk about student loans. 855-939-1137, 855-939-1137. I'd like to know if you had your student loan, if you qualify for the student loan forgiveness, if you believe that student loan forgiveness is a complete nightmare, if you think it's great. Now, I absolutely believe Biden bought votes. I mean, it's brilliant. But here's the thing, we talked about it before, was the fact that, he did this with the emergency powers. And this can be challenged. Now, I have something to ask you guys. Think about this. If this could be challenged, who do you think would challenge him? So the only people that would challenge him, obviously, would be Republicans, right? Because Republicans want to challenge him because they would challenge anything that a Democrat would do. But that would be a disaster for the midterms. So although Biden did this to, get votes in the midterms, which is obviously what he did, if the Republicans challenge this, they're going to look terrible because it's not just Democrats that are getting this $10,000 forgiveness. It's everyone who makes less than $125,000 getting this forgiveness, including Republicans. So now, all of a sudden, the Republicans challenge it, and you've got people saying, wait a minute, I was about to get $10,000. What are you doing? I want my money. So they're
in a catch-22.
Exactly. They're in a situation where it's just not going to work if they challenge it. So, yes, this will go through, even though I'm telling you, I believe it's highly illegal, and I believe it's an overreach of his powers. I think it's worse than an overreach of his powers of telling everybody that they have to get vaccinated. It's that bad. So we'll see. There might be a lame duck Republican somewhere that challenges it, and that would be the best person. But I'm not even sure if he's going to get the votes from the rest of the backing from the rest of Republicans, because it may actually just be the same exact thing. Oh, this guy voted against me getting $10,000. I don't want him in here. This guy voted. I don't want him in here, and that's the problem. It's actually a very brilliant move by the administration. So now, all of you guys who are getting this $10,000 or worried about this $10,000, stop worrying about it. Let them have it. Let them just have it. It is what it is. And I know I already got it. I'm already hearing the people in the car screaming at me going, we're going to be paying for that. We, the taxpayers, are going to be paying for that. Look, I'm going to tell you something that you need to totally understand about taxes. It is not what you think. Okay? You did not get a bill just now for $300 a month to pay for that person's college loan of $10,000 because he doesn't have to pay the $300 anymore. You didn't get that bill. What you got was your tax money going to some other stupid place that you wish it didn't go to. How many other places that you wish your money didn't go to, your tax money didn't go to? I know you don't want your money going to illegal aliens. I know you don't want your money going to free college for illegal aliens. I know you don't want your money going to health, whatever it is that you don't want their money going to abortions. I know, I get it. I don't want my money going to all these things also. The absolute best thing you could do is stop thinking about it. Just stop thinking about where your money goes and learn something that I teach, which is how to pay less taxes. That's the key here. The key here is I don't care that somebody just got their $10,000 forgiven. You know why? Because next year, I'm probably paying less taxes than you are. And I probably make the same or more money than you do. And the reason that I'm going to pay less taxes is not because I cheat the tax system. It's because I read the tax laws and I go, oh, I didn't know I can do that. Do you know that there are times, Glenn, that I have to call my accountant and say, hey, there's a new tax law that says this, this, and this, and make sure you take that deduction. And he goes, what are you talking about? Now, not that
doesn't even know.
Not that my accountant is bad. My accountant's actually very good. I actually like my accountant. He's a very smart guy. But there are new tax laws changed all the time. And with the CARES Act, there were a bunch of tax laws in the CARES Act that no one knew about. No one ever read the CARES Act. I actually took time one time and read the CARES Act. I read it. And when I read it, I was blown away. You want to know why there were so many COVID numbers? Because if somebody walked into a hospital and coughed, and I mean just coughed, so they had to show any signs of COVID, the hospital got an extra $13,000. So all I had to do was go, yes, he's showing signs of COVID, and he got $13,000. That was go read the CARES Act. I actually did a blog on it. If you want to go to LarrySteinhouse.com and read the blog, it's called Follow the Money. I wrote this 2 years ago when this whole thing started, and I could not believe what was going on. I mean, you guys know I did the whole mask thing too, and I tested masks and proved that they didn't work as well. And it's the same thing with this college loan thing. I mean, I know what's going on. I'm not stupid. I know Biden's buying votes. But at the same time, I am so glad that some of these people who had this predatory loan, that they took out because they were told their life wouldn't be good if they didn't go to college and didn't get a college loan. I'm so glad they're getting $10,000. And for those people who are thinking, well, you didn't have anybody, I'm going to tell you something that really stinks for me. My stepdaughter she owed $7,500 from the beginning of the pandemic to about 2 months ago. Well, I've been paying that loan for her. We're helping her pay that loan. And my wife and I paid that loan off. If we didn't pay that loan, we didn't even have to make any payments on it according to the government. If we didn't pay that loan off, we would have had that $7,500 forgiven. So am I bitter about that? No, I'm not bitter about it. I'm thinking, oh, damn, I should have waited. But I'm not bitter about it. It's okay. It's life. It's just the way it is. Sometimes money comes to you and sometimes it doesn't. I mean, look, we got PPP loans for investor schooling. Everybody got PPP loans. And then everybody's going to say, well, that was for your payroll. That's so you didn't have to put people on unemployment. Listen, you only had to use 60% of it towards payroll. The rest of it went to the company. I mean, that's just the way it was. And my payroll got paid. I was on payroll. I got paid because the government gave me some free money. So please, I realize that I sound like the talking points of brain dead Biden himself, but I'm really serious about it. Some of it is real, and some of it you should just accept. Don't worry about what these people getting the $10,000. I'm actually walking up to people. Hey, Mike. Mike's my producer here, and so I actually walked up and go, "Hey, Mike, did you get any money forgiven?" And he said, "Mike, you could pick up the phone, pick up the mic."
I got about half of my federal loans just reduced, or basically half of my loan is gone now.
Right. So everybody, I want you to congratulate Mike. He just got an extra $10,000. Now I got to tell you, I mean, Mike, he doesn't make a lot of money, because I'm cheap and I don't pay him a lot of money. But he doesn't make a lot of money. He actually does pretty well. But he needs to. This is good for him. I'm so glad for him. Matter of fact, I called up my son. I said, hey, did you have any student loans? He goes, no, I paid them off. And I'm like, oh damn. It would have been great. So people who have gotten this $10,000 or are going to get this $10,000, assuming it doesn't get challenged. Now, I'm going to tell you, there's still a possibility that it's going to get challenged, and that will be really weird if it gets challenged. But I don't think it's going to happen. Like I said before, I don't think any Republican out there would have the nerve to challenge it. So, by the way, if you want to call in, 855-939-1137, 855-939-1137. And we could talk about this because this is a hot topic, and not only is it a hot topic, I'm very passionate about it on both sides. Biden is cheating, and I'm so glad that people are getting the $10,000. It sounds like I'm talking at both sides of my tongue. Do I sound like a politician now, Glenn?
No, you sound like somebody who's capable of thinking for themselves.
Oh, no. Don't tell anybody that. I'll get killed.
But I have to tell you, Larry, I think that one of the obstacles here is that at some fundamental level, it's always going to offend people's sense of fairness. That's just built into human psychology. I know you're telling people to just let it go. But at some level, people are going to think, hey, that's not fair. I didn't get to go to college. I didn't go to college. I didn't take out a loan. And they're just getting a free ride.
That's right.
Some level, people are going, that doesn't sit well with people. The same way if you go to work and somebody is just collecting money for 8 hours while you're busting your hump, at some level, it's going to bother you.
Yeah,
It's just the way people are wired.
I know it's a shame because if you're really good at your job or you really know how to make money like we do, like we teach, just go out and make the money. I don't care if the person next to me isn't making the money because they're complaining and bitching and moaning about, oh, it's so unfair. It's so unfair. That's why you're not making money. I don't care. I'm learning how to pay less taxes. It's really funny. It's really funny. There's somebody up there. Mike online says, do you use the same tax guy as the evil corporations? Now I don't know if he's being sarcastic or not. But it's funny because that's exactly what the Democrats would say. They say, oh, the evil corporations, they don't pay taxes. It's the funniest thing. They pay more taxes than you could even imagine. And then you got the people like New York, like AOC. Amazon wanted to go into New York, and AOC said, no, we're not going to give you any tax breaks. Any tax breaks? AOC, you're a dum-dum. Don't you realize that you would have employed 25,000 people? Well, we don't need to employ anybody right now. So unemployment is down to 3.5%. Wait. Just wait. Wait for 5 years or 3 years from now when unemployment is 7, 8, 9, 10% because you lost that opportunity to have 25,000 people working and guess what? Paying taxes. Now, Amazon wasn't asking for a 100% tax break. They were looking for just a typical thing. We build a building in your area, and we build up the employee base, and you guys make money. And that is a lot of the reason why these companies aren't paying taxes. Whenever you hear that Amazon doesn't pay taxes, that's not true at all. They have some tax breaks that they were given because they went into certain states, which is fantastic for the state. That's why states do it. They don't do it because they don't do it because they don't want to collect taxes. They do it because they know in the future they're going to collect a lot more taxes and they're going to make a lot more money. It's like these people, right? You ever hear people, and again, talking about taxes, what do people do? They actually, they contributed to charity, and they have to pay less taxes because they contributed to charity. So if you gave $100,000 to a charity, right, the charity got how much money, Glenn?
$100,000,
right? I mean,
I know this one.
I know, it's so simple, right? But here's what happens: the person who contributed to the charity gets a tax break, probably somewhere near 25%. Depending on how they do the taxes. Let's say it's 25%. So they get, of the $100,000 that they gave to charity, it only cost them $75,000, not $100,000, right? Because they got a tax break. Now, do you think that the charity is very happy that they got their $100,000?
Sure.
Yeah, of course. And the incentive to give that money to the charity was that the government is going to subsidize part of that contribution. That's fantastic for the charity. That's the whole reason the government does it, is so the charity can say, hey, please give me some money, and you'll get a tax break on top of it too. If they took away the tax break, you want to know how many charities would go out of business? Probably, I'm going to say 30 to 40% of them would go out of business. So when somebody says, I got a tax break because they give the charity, shut up. They gave the guy this money. Let them get a tax break for it. It's fantastic. What a great thing for both the charity and the person who gave the money. It's fabulous. So, I real quick, I got somebody online who says, yeah, right. So Christopher says he owes over $265,000 in law school student loans. By the way, Christopher, you know what my mother always says to me? She always says to me, you should be an attorney. And you know what I say to my mother? I always say, I can't take the pay cut. But anyway, he continues and says, I'll take any help I can get. Democrats give me money and Republicans lower my taxes. It's a win-win, whoever in office. He's absolutely right. So the Republicans will lower taxes. So I think it was last year or the year before, I can't remember. Because of Trump's tax cuts, I paid $9,000 less in taxes than I would have normally paid. Now, this year, all you guys with student loans got $10,000. I don't know. That's pretty nice. It's just nice that it all happened. Plus, I got PPP loans to keep investor schooling going. So let it happen. Don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. However, the real problem with student loans is that they're predatory. Hey, Glenn, why don't we take a break? And when we come back, maybe somebody will actually call me. 855-939-1137. 855-939-1137. We'll see you guys in a couple minutes. You know what? All right, this is Larry Steinhouse, and welcome back to Investor Schooling Live. Hey, Glenn, you know what? I just figured something out. There's a possibility we're not getting phone calls because I never transferred the phone number. I'm so used to so we've been out for a month, right? I think it's been a month, right, that I've been out because I went on vacation a couple of times, and you know, we had some other things going on. So I kind of like forgot to do something very, very important, which was transfer the number. So we probably had a whole bunch of calls. We were sitting there at just a little while ago, and we were sitting there wondering why we weren't getting any phone calls because this is a pretty hot topic. So now I think I might know why. So let me see if I can transfer the phone number now, so you can actually call. Don't call yet. We're almost there. Where is it? It's terrible.
You got it?
Almost. Oh, I'm doing it. You think I would have thought of this during commercial? I literally thought of it as we came out of the commercial.
We only have an hour here, Larry. We only have an hour.
I know. You would think, right? All right. So wait a minute. Hold on. I got the wrong number.
Let's not spend 40 minutes of it forwarding the phone calls.
I know. You know. Hey, it's a good thing. It's a good thing you're here to take over while I'm thinking about having to do this. But, you know, and you would think I'd even remember the normal radio show line, but I don't. Okay, it's now back up. 855-939-1137 is the phone number. 855.
Whoa, it's like a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
Whoa. No, it's not.
I know. I didn't think it would be because whatever called before wouldn't come through. Wouldn't come
I'm
through.
blind
right?
from the
right.
lights from the
phone.
Right. You got to warn me the next time you do that.
All right. You know, I don't need your sarcasm right now. You know. You know,
all right. Okay.
You know, who do you think I am? You know, was somebody important over there at PhD? I'm just some lonely guy that does a radio show once an hour, once a week. All right.
All right. Give them the number.
Shush. Be quiet. 855-939-1137. Somebody call me just to make sure it works. All right. Hey, I'll tell you what. Everybody online.
That was too fast.
855-939-1137. That's 855-939-1137. That's for the people who can't stand me speaking slow. How's that?
There you go.
All right. 855-939-1137. And let's talk about student loans. I don't care. We'll talk about anything money. We'll talk about taxes. We'll talk about how to pay less taxes. I don't really care, but I just thought it would be interesting. So here, we got a couple other comments online which are interesting. All right. So Lewis, and so he goes, it increases the national debt. Okay. I got to talk about the national debt because it's a brilliant statement, right? It increases the national debt. Are you guys ready? Who cares? The national debt's a joke. We have an endless pot of money that the politicians, both sides, just take from. Once you realize that, and once you just stop caring about it, it makes life so simple. Who cares? There's you ever go to the national debt clock? Anybody ever go to the national debt clock? Let me see. I haven't been there in a while. But there's something called the National Debt Clock. It's actually a neat little website called the National Debt Clock. I think it's nationaldebtclock.com. I'm going to look it up right now. So National Debt Clock. Oh, that's not there. It is. That's not what it is. So it's actually national. Oh wait, hold on. Is that the right one? Oh, I'm being redirected because I typed in the wrong thing. So there's something called the National Debt Clock, and let me see if I can find it because I want to see where we are right now because it is insane the number. And believe me, it will never, ever be a number. It'll actually keep going up and keep going up and keep going up. It'll never stop. Here, usdebtclock.org. That's what it is, usdebtclock.org. So what do you think it is right now? If I got this right, it's 30 trillion. Is that right? I don't even know. Who cares? And it says that every taxpayer now owes $244,315. Okay. So you can sit there and go, oh, my goodness, the National Debt Clock says I owe $244,315. Do you think you actually have to pay that? No, you don't have to pay that. Don't even worry about it. Just forget about it at this point. I'm telling you, eventually, the United States is going to go bankrupt. But so what? It's not happening tomorrow. When it starts to happen, you need to be prepared for it. That's why I teach people to buy silver. That's why I teach people to buy gold in case this stuff happens. And I'll tell you something else you should have, believe it or not, ammo. But don't worry about it. It's no big deal. It's nothing that's going to affect your life. It doesn't affect your life. And I know some of you guys go, well, the Democrats will raise taxes. Yeah, the Democrats will raise taxes, and then the Republicans will lower taxes, and the Democrats will raise taxes, and the Republicans will lower taxes. Just learn how to pay less taxes and stop worrying about it anymore. It's really nothing. All right, so we've been talking about taxes, we've been talking about the student loan, and we've been talking about the fact that I forgot to move the phone number. So if you want to call, you can call now, 855-939-1137, 855-939-1137. All right.
You got a call.
I do. I can't believe it. Oh, my goodness. It must be Larry in Richboro. What's going on, Larry?
How are you, sir?
Oh, I know that voice immediately.
Yeah, you should. Hopefully you have a better grasp on the stock market and real estate than how to use a phone system, but just an offhanded comment.
So this is Larry Feldman. He's one of the greatest car salesmen in the planet, and he actually teaches people how to be better car salesmen, which is kind of cool. And everybody's going, "Oh, Larry knows people who are car sales people." But Larry and I had dinner last night. So tell me, Larry, what do you think of this student loan thing?
Well, I definitely agree with you that it's predatory in nature. It certainly didn't help when Obama decided to get the government involved. They can screw anything up pretty seriously. And I tend to agree with you that, we can go crazy over it. But, I mean, when you look at all the other insane things that have happened recently with gas prices and shutting down that whole system and inflation, I mean, it's probably way down the list of things to worry about.
Yeah, actually, and for those of you who don't maybe not even realize it, but no one has paid their student loan in 2.5 years. That's the other thing. The extension of not having to pay your student loan goes to the end of this year. So, yes, you guys are all thinking about how this $10,000 is going to cost the taxpayers. How much did not paying the student loans for the 2.5 years cost the taxpayers? I bet you that cost the taxpayers a lot more money than $10,000. It's insane, absolutely insane.
Not to mention the fact that it put a damper on people needing to work because so many things they normally had to pay for, they didn't have to pay for.
Right, you took that, and you also took the mortgage moratorium, which is another one that's crazy. But that actually, they now have to pay their mortgage. I have people coming to me and they're calling me up and they're saying, "Larry, I don't know what to do." The mortgage company says now I owe them 6 or 9 months of payments, and they want it now. They didn't even put it on the back of the loan; they want it all now. And they're talking about doing a loan modification. I'm like, wow, I can't believe that no one thought that out. I mean, that's like renters. It's like people who rent places from me. They rent and they go and all of a sudden they're like, I don't have the mortgage money. I don't have the rent money this month. I'll just pay you 2 months next month. If you don't have 1 month this month, you're not going to have 2 months next month.
Tell them to write their Democratic councilman and tell them they're an illegal immigrant and they're squatters. That's all. They'll solve the whole problem.
Right? Hey, why don't you give a plug for yourself? Oh, by the way, for the new FCC rules, Larry did not pay me for his current sponsorship or his advertisement that's coming up right now. Why don't you tell everybody what you do and how they can get a hold of you?
Sure. I have a recruiting and training company called Career Changers USA. We find people, whether it's sales or service. We train people and make them better. And there's a rumor floating around that I might have started that you and I might even be doing a seminar together. Absolutely.
So, we were talking about that last night, and we'll let you guys know more about that too. Yes, and also, speaking of seminars, and I know you might even be there too, we're going to be doing something really cool on September 17th. We have an all-day workshop. It's a mastermind workshop, and it's called the Money Multiplier Workshop. And if anybody wants to go, you know what? Hey, Glenn, should I give away some free tickets?
Excuse me?
I think I'm going to give away free tickets to this. So it's $97 to attend per person, and I'm going to give away to the next 4 callers, I'm going to give away 1 ticket. So if you guys want to attend this thing, give me a call, and if you call and you want to talk about anything that has to do with money, I'm going to give you a free ticket to go to the Money Multiplier. But by the way, if you want to get tickets, you can go to the number 4mmw.com. That's 4mmw.com. Hey, Larry, maybe you'll be there, man.
I will be there, and I'll hang up now because I know you have hundreds of callers waiting to back up after your ineptitude listing the phone number. I don't want to get in anybody's way.
Take care, Larry. Thanks so much. All right. So if anybody wants to call in now, 855-939-1137, and you will get a free ticket to the Money Multiplier Mastermind. I'm going to tell you right now, you want to be there. You want to learn how to be a millionaire, even if it doesn't mean anything anymore. You want to go to this workshop. You're going to learn so many amazing things. So the website for that also is 4mmw.com. That's 4mmw.com. And of course, if you want to come to investor schooling, I don't know, sometimes I forget that we're supposed to be doing an investor schooling show. You can go to investorschooling.com and you can sign up for a free class this Thursday night, investorschooling.com. Free class. 855-939-1137. So Mike online says his wife wants to call in just to say hi. So Mike, if your wife calls in, she gets a free ticket to the Money Multiplier. You should have her call in right now. 855-939-1137. All right. I am like, I guess I don't know. I guess there isn't much more to talk about when it comes to these student loan things. So let's talk about something else.
Can I ask a question, Larry?
You absolutely can.
So I know you think you might be giving mixed messages. My question to you is, what would have been the Larry solution in this situation?
Oh, so
what do you think you should have done, or what would you have done?
All right. So the forgiveness. Let's talk about. Let me get back to the forgiveness part. But this is what I really think should be done. I think that the guaranteed student loan, needs to go away. That is a major problem. Once the guaranteed student loan goes away. So in other words, you're a 17 or 18-year-old and you apply for a loan, and the government and who you apply for goes, do you have a job? No. Do you have any income? No. Are your parents going to co-sign for this? No. You can't have a loan. That's it. You can't have one. And that's normal, right? So when you eliminate at least 60 or 70% of the people who went to college on these guaranteed student loan ripoffs, what do you think is going to happen to the colleges? Do you think they're going to have more people going to college or less people?
You would think less.
Yeah. And what do you think they're going to do? Going, we need to get more people in the classroom. What do you think they're going to do?
Lower prices?
Their tuition. Exactly. They're going to lower their tuition. That's the problem. That's what's wrong with student loans. Not only are they predatory, and not only the only way to get out of a student loan is to die. That's it. You have to die to get out of a student loan. Now, they do have certain plans. If you go to work for the government, of course, because that's what it's all about. It's all about government indoctrination. If you go to work for the government and you've been paying your student loan on time for 10 years, you didn't miss one payment, you can have what's left of the balance forgiven. Now, first of all, if you're paying your student loan for 10 years, you've not only paid the original amount, but you probably paid 30 to 40% more than the original amount in 10 years just because of the interest. So that's not forgiveness anyway. It's just that you get a better deal than the other person who didn't get a government job or becomes a teacher. So if you're a teacher, you get a government job. After 10 years of paying your student loan and not missing one payment, you can have your student loan forgiven. But it's insane. It's like, why would they do that? Why would somebody want to pay their student loan for 10 years? The best thing you can do, and I teach this also, is not make the payments that long. You want to set the payments up. Matter of fact, I'm going to tell you what I talk about in my book, and when I do seminars on college loans, the absolute best thing you can do is if your kid goes to college, get a student loan. Because they're giving it to you, so you might as well take it, right? Get the student loan. But start making the payments the month after you got the loan. Don't wait 4 or 5 years before your kid graduates. Start making the payment instantly. I actually figured out in some cases you could save over $50,000 in interest by doing this, by making the payment for them. Now, look, Glenn, I don't mean to point you out, and it may or may not be, but when you first graduated college, did you get a job instantly?
I think I was already I may be an exception. I was already working in radio when I graduated.
Okay, and then when you graduated, you had 2 months to pay you had 2 months of deferment more to pay your student loan. Did you immediately start paying it out of your pocket, or did your parents help you?
I actually did not have a student loan.
Oh, okay, so you're completely different. Okay, that's great. Okay, so most people will graduate, and they'll graduate with a student loan. They haven't been paying the student loan for 4 or 5 years, and then 2 months later they have to start paying this loan, right? Now, most of the loans they don't have interest deferment, they have payment deferment, so the interest was building. So if they borrowed $50,000, they may owe $65,000 by the time they graduate. They haven't even done anything yet, and they graduate. Now, some people are getting. I mean, how many baristas do you know at Starbucks that have college educations that can't afford to pay their student loan, right? So who do you think pays the student loan for them?
They pay them themselves. I don't.
Some parents are paying it, right? Oh, that's
okay,
my kid.
I see.
So if you think that's going to happen anyway, start paying your kid's student loan immediately. Pay it for them. Pay it for them until they graduate and get a job. When they get a job, you say, okay, listen, I paid off half your student loan already. Now you finish paying it. And not only that, you're building the kid's credit. You're helping the kid with credit. And look, don't we all want to be able to save up money to send our kids to school? Wouldn't that be an ultimate thing? I want to save all the money I can to send my kid to school. Well, you didn't. Some people just didn't. It didn't happen, or maybe you didn't save up enough. So get the college loan in their name and make the payments for them. That was your contribution. And as soon as they get started in their job and they're secure, you hand over the payments to them and let them finish it off. That is the absolute best way to handle student loans. Matter of fact, that's what we did with Linda's stepdaughter. I'm sorry, my stepdaughter with Linda's daughter, and that's how I ended up paying the $7,500. If I would have waited, I could have got that for free. But I didn't care. It was more about doing the right thing and doing exactly what I teach. We saved a whole bunch of money in interest because we paid it off, and we did it that way. And her daughter graduates not having to worry about having to pay that loan off. And that's how.
Familiar. This sounds familiar. Was this in your book?
Yes, it's exactly in my book.
I thought it was in your book.
It is in my book.
I remember now. And you have not mentioned your book this hour. You need to talk.
I know. I need to talk about my book. So my book is called Money Hacks, and Glenn is a big fan of my book. It's called Money Hacks. Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate that. So it's called Money Hacks, and if you haven't ordered this book yet, you want to order this book. It's called Money Hacks by Larry Steinhouse. And the subtitle is because everything you think you know about money is wrong. And that's exactly right. Everything you think you know about money is wrong. By the way, no one's calling me. Maybe the phone system, oh no, I guess Larry got through. Maybe nobody likes me anymore. I know.
I think you need to give a few more details about the event because I'm not clear on when it is and what's going to happen there. I mean, Money Multiplier sounds. It's you know what that sounds like. That sounds like a machine at the casino. I want to know more. What is this Money Multiplier?
So the actual Money Multiplier was titled from a process that one of our speakers is going to be teaching, and he teaches something called the Money Multiplier, which is a process of using anything from using certain vehicles, like life insurance actually is one of them, to multiply your money. Now, it's hard to explain this because I've got 15 minutes and it takes him 2 hours to explain it, and it makes a lot of sense. You can actually if you had a dollar and you put it in the bank, and I realize it's a small amount, and you made interest on that dollar, you can make interest on that dollar 3 times if you understand how to use the Money Multiplier system. And that's one of the things we teach there. But it's also going to be a mastermind. We're going to be sitting there and talking to people. And Glenn, you'd probably love this. You should take the day off that day. Although I think we have to do the radio show that day too. So we'll be here doing the radio show. Anyway, we'll come in here and do the radio show. Maybe we'll bring
on a Saturday.
Yeah, maybe we'll bring one of the speakers in. So it's Saturday, September 17th. It's an all-day event, and we might even go to dinner afterwards. So if you guys want to hang around with rich people, and I'm talking about some really rich people, richer than me, rich people, and learning how they did it, you want to go. And if you want a free ticket, give me a call right now, 855-939-1137, 855-939-1137. I think what you said during the commercial was funny, Glenn. You said that, we haven't done a live show in 4 weeks, that people aren't sure if this show is live. So it is August 27th. Today, August 27th, we are live, 855-939-1137, 855-939-1137. You know what's going to happen? Somebody's going to be listening to this tomorrow because the repeat goes on tomorrow. Like, oh, I missed it.
Oh, absolutely. That's a given. That's a given.
I know, right? Exactly. All right. So again, we've been talking about student loans.
Not listening on Saturday, folks. If it's not Saturday the 26th, it's not.
No, it's Saturday. It's Saturday the 27th. Yes. 27th. Right. It's Saturday the 27th. So you could actually do that, and also order my book. What else do I want to? What other good stuff do I want to talk about? This stock market on Friday, man, down 1,000 points. The NASDAQ was down 497 points. Now, when the NASDAQ's down that much, that's really, really bad. But guess what? It's buying opportunity time. If you guys don't realize that it's buying opportunity time right now, this is the time to buy. Now, I've been talking about, it's funny because probably before the break that I was, the last month break, I've been talking about over and over again, I've been talking about the cruise stocks. And sure enough, they're starting to claw their way back up, which is really good. I mean, even Carnival Cruise, it's below 10 still, and it keeps popping up over 10, and it's going to stay above 10 soon. It'll probably hit 11 or 12. I'm going to say 11 or 12 in the next 3 weeks, And that will be a really good place to be. Now, I bought a bunch of the stock, and I'm also selling covered calls on it. And if you don't know how to sell covered calls, you need to come to Investor Schooling and learn this. You guys know about. You guys obviously know about real estate. Like if you bought a $100,000 property and then you rented it out, maybe you make $800 a month, maybe you make $1,000 a month on the rent. How would you like to rent your stocks? Now, it's not really renting stocks, but it's the same thing. I mean, you can get. I've gotten off a Nikola stock. I've gotten about $1,000 a week in the last 5 weeks. I got almost $1,000 a week every week for the last 5 weeks by selling covered calls on my Nikola stock. Because every time it goes up, I sell a call, stock goes down, and then I get to keep that money. And it's a really great play. It's like it's free money. So if you wanted to learn how to get free money from your stocks, I'm going to teach you how to do that. And when I say it's free money, I mean it's zero risk. If you're selling covered calls, your only risk that you have is that you make less money than you would have made if you didn't sell the covered call. It's not, you don't lose money, you just make less money. But most of the time, you're going to sell a covered call and you're going to make money, especially in this economy right now where the stock market is super volatile and the numbers keep moving down. It's great, actually. So if you want to learn how to do that, you need to come to Investor Schooling. Go to investorschooling.com and you can learn how to do that. All right, here's another thing that's interesting, too, is the VIX. So for you guys who don't know what the VIX is a fear indicator. And it's basically a calculation of the amount of puts and calls that are bought, and it goes into some weirdo computer, and it spits out a number. Now, the VIX right now is at 25.56. Now, it was 3 years ago, the VIX was hovering between 13 and 18. And when it was at 13, the market was pretty calm. When it was 18, the market was pretty volatile. So you can imagine at 25 that the market is more volatile than normal. However, the weird part is these numbers are becoming more normal. So 18 to 25 seems to be the new normal numbers. So 25 is pretty high. Now, the VIX hit 80 during the scamdemic, and you guys know I use that word intentionally because that's what I believe. So the VIX is now at 25, and again, that means that the market is going to be somewhat volatile. So some plays, I always like to talk about some plays. Like I said, the cruise line stocks are great. These are great stocks to buy. They might be good calls, too, if you want to take the risk on them. But I would definitely go out 2 earnings. I would go into February or March on the cruise stocks. Meta, which owns Facebook, if you guys know who Meta is. They own Facebook. If this goes below 160 on Monday morning, jump all over this in a call. This is going to be a great play because Meta is going to come back. It's probably going to be in the 180s in the next probably 2 to 3 months, and it'll be a great call. So if you play this well, you'll do really well with this. I like this play a lot. And of
Larry,
course,
I'd like to interrupt and let you know that you have a call.
Oh my goodness!
Richard in Haddonfield would like to get a question in real quick.
All right, Richard, you got about 3 minutes.
Larry, good to talk to you. Real quick question.
Sure.
After Jay Powell's speech yesterday, what do you think is going to happen next maybe 6 to 12 months regarding 30-year mortgage rates, and what do you think they'll actually go up to?
So it's funny. They're still like around 5.5, which I don't know why anybody's upset about this. I mean, I realize it's not 3.5, right, or 3, or even 2.5, where some people got it. But those were lucky. It's funny. It's like it's the same thing as the $10,000 student loan. These people got lucky. They got a low mortgage rate of 3.5%. Now I was smart, and in December I was able to refinance 13 of my properties. I got that rate of 3.5%. I think one was 4.25. I think it was the highest one I got. But I was able to do it. It was just something I did, and I'll never be able to see those rates again. This is why I did it. That's why I refinanced them in the first place. But even if rates are 6 or 7%, that should be normal. And 5 should be low, and 6 or 7 should be normal, and 8, 9, and 10 should be high. We're not going to hit, at least I hope, we're not going to hit the 13, 14, 18% that we saw in the 80s. How old are you? Richard?
I'm 62.
Okay, so you remember...
62.
Right, so you remember the 18% mortgage rates.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So I remember buying my very first house, and I got a 13% interest rate. Actually, it was less than 13. It was like 12.75, and I thought that was a bargain at the time.
Well, what do you think that you don't think that's going to really hurt values? The way Powell was talking yesterday, he's going to raise no matter what until inflation really starts to, to go down a little bit. What will that do to values?
Oh, obviously it's going to bring them down. There's no doubt that housing is going to come down. But so are you a fan of this show? Have you been listening to me for a while?
Yes.
So I've been saying for 3 years that this was going to be the end. That this spring, the spring that just passed, will be the last greatest year of real estate prices. And it's going to come down. It's going to come down. It has to come down. I mean, people are buying less houses. Prices have to come down. I have a house on my street that hasn't sold yet. Now, I have to admit the guy's asking a little bit too much money, but the house hasn't sold yet. There are other houses that haven't sold yet. It's starting to become more normal where people are making offers, and the offers are less than asking price now, not over asking price. So it's going to come down. But here's what you have to understand. So there's two things. There's houses that you live in, and it's a house you live in. You don't ever care about what the house that you live in is worth unless you're going to sell it in the next 6 months. Don't worry about it. You're living there. You're paying your payment. Your payment is fixed. That's why you bought the house in the first place, because you wanted to live there for a long time. If you're an investor, also, depending on what kind of investor you are, like I'm a buy and hold investor. I buy real estate, and all I want to do is collect rent. I just want to collect rent. I don't care what the property's worth. I just want to collect rent. So I sit there every day. I collect my rent. I make my money off my rent, and I live off my rent, and that's how I do it. So do I care if the value of the house goes down? I don't care. In fact, I just raised a whole bunch of rents on my properties because of this inflation, because inflation is the greatest thing that's ever happened to a real estate investor. And if you're not a real estate investor now, get in now before inflation comes in next time. All right, I'm running out of time, Richard. I appreciate you. You're awesome. Hey, I want to thank everybody for listening. I want to thank my in-house... we forgot to give him a book. Oh, well. I'm going to book a thing. Anyway, I want to thank, of course, our in-house producer, Mike Kuiper, and our producer at PHT, Glenn Page, who's awesome. Go to investorschooling.com, sign up for a class this Thursday, and I'm looking forward to talking to you and making you money. And like I always say, man, make it a profitable day.